Electric Lodge presents Notes from the Underground with Josh Berkowitz, where we talk to alternative storytellers, comedians, dancers, musicians, poets, and filmmakers about life, art, and we may just talk about nothing at all. Recorded live from Soul Journey Studios in Venice Beach, California.
Yeah, we're here with Karen Elaine.
Howdy, Josh.
Hi.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, wait, is Elaine your last name or your middle name?
Middle name. Yeah.
And do you not say your last name or?
Well, I've had many.
You changed it? You've changed it over time?
Over and over again, yeah.
Nice.
But these are the two given names my mother gave me, and so I honor her and myself just by going by those two names. I changed my name when I was right out of undergrad college, when I was working.
Yeah.
Just wanted to embrace the me.
You're one of the few, and we had a guy yesterday, one of the few authentic Venice people left, or maybe there's still a lot of authentic Venice people left, but we need to find them. Are we good? Yeah. So you're a musician and what I think is a yoga master, and I'm so glad I happened to just stumble into your class at the back of Mystic Journey Bookstore at 11 a.m. on Sundays, right?
That's right.
Is that the main place you teach, or do you teach?
I have two places that go regularly, 11 a.m. at Mystic Journey Bookstore every Sunday, and Thursday evening, 8:30 p.m. at Capoeira Beisaudo Studio in Santa Monica, directly across the street from Santa Monica City College on Ocean Park Boulevard.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long have you lived in Venice for?
16 years.
Wow, and you've seen it change.
Yeah, huge. Well, as soon as I moved in, there was an evolution within 6 months of buying my house. I was kind of naive, and, my first house I was buying, what suckered me in was the cute little waist-high white picket fence. Let's go for nothing around here. So regularly having people walk right up to the front door and bang on the window and give you the story. I need money. My mom's in the hospital and and I need to get a bus ride. I need to get a taxi, and giving up money. And they walk right next door, and right next door was a triplex that was the center for shoreline crips, for prostitution, for semi-automatic weapon sales. I mean, crazy ass shit going on all day, all night. This went on for 6 months. I mean, the helicopters...
The Crips were in Venice for... They're not still in Venice.
Yes.
They are?
Hello. Shoreline Crips are right here. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway... and I grew up in San Diego, which are the Bloods. So, I saw all these blue and everything. And I'm not a gang member, but I'm just like, oh my God, my dog has a red harness. What the fuck? I'm going to be in trouble. I better change it up. Because my dog was black and she had the red harness. Anyway.
Oh my God. Wait.
Anyway, let me just finish the Shoreline Crips are next door. And helicopters practically landing on the house every night. The lights from the helicopters coming in through our windows and next door. There's a lineup every single morning, and people getting... Anyway, 6 months later, the people that lived there, their grandmother used to own the property, and she willed it to them. It hadn't been paid off. Apparently, especially buying the house 30 some odd years, 40 years ago, it wasn't expensive, and they only owed a little bit of money on it. But in those 6 months, $10,000 that was owed on the house, they didn't get around to paying it, and they lost the house for $10,000. And one of these slum landlords that buys up blocks of properties, 10 foreclosures at a time, they bought it and flipped it right away, didn't fix anything, and kept it going as a rental. It cleaned up the neighborhood tremendously, but it was still, kind of an issue. But I actually recently moved out of Venice in April of last year because it just so much craziness. But yeah, it has evolved tremendously. One of the big changes, and I'm not one to say, people don't belong in a certain place,
right.
People don't have rights or anything like that. Whether it's a gang member or it's a prostitute or it's a homeless person, but there is something to be said for having self-respect. And I grew up, my father was a retired Navy. I grew up in San Diego.
Right, you might have said something to me about this. Okay.
He was an electrical engineer, pretty high up, top security. I think that people in the military go crazy because you're trained to kill people. One of the toys that one of my toys growing up were my collection of toys were the model planes that my dad would bring home. They were drone missiles that he was designing for the Iran-Iraq war, which he would bring those models home, and I would check, like, wow, that's so cool, and the color orange that they used and everything. I just thought it was like really cool because you never saw anything like that. This in the 70s, right? Late 60s, 70s. And 10 years later, we're seeing these drones being used. So that's how, far ahead. My dad was designing the hardware, not software, but the hardware, computer programming for these missiles. And so anyway, I grew up watching him beat my mother, and the two of them eventually separating and divorcing. And he, at that time, there was no way for deadbeat dads to be held accountable for supporting their family. So he got away with not paying child support, not paying alimony. And my then housewife mom, she all of a sudden had 3 kids on her hand with no money coming in. And we went on welfare. So I grew up on welfare, and I saw my mom, who was a college-educated woman and proud and hardworking, just a huge believer in unconditional love. Because even though my dad left when I was 6, I had no idea that he was a bad guy. I clearly saw, and I have a clear memory of watching him beat her.
Right.
But she always said that you got to love your dad. That's your only father. And so I grew up hypnotized, wondering, why doesn't daddy come around? I finally figured it out, and I got her when I was in high school to, talk straight to me about this.
Wow.
And that's the beginning of understanding the concept of unconditional love. And so I try to share that for other people, the struggles that you see people who are homeless and immersed in drug use here and can't dig themselves out of their hole, living on the streets in Venice, the people who are involved in gangs and prostitution. I came walking my dogs late one night and came across a woman who was only wearing a t-shirt, was naked from her waist down, just lying in the side, at the edge of the sidewalk in the gutter, literally. And another one of my neighbors was walking with his teenage son. I said, you guys, we need to stand here and wait for police to come to take care of this, because the woman was passed out, couldn't tell if she was dead or if she was what. And paramedics and police came. So that's part of the norm living here in Venice. And that's it's pretty wild to just hear that from you, and thinking that, Snapchat's taking over, which they are in a way. I've heard, the buildings that they're buying.
Right, the buildings, but that this Venice is still a reality.
It is. And because you have people, for one, I went to school back east. I grew up in San Diego, but I wanted to get as far away from San Diego. So my freshman year was in Boston, New England Conservatory, and then the next 2 years I was at Curtis in Philadelphia. And that was my first time seeing homeless. Even though I grew up on the poorer side in San Diego, in Southeast San Diego, you didn't see homeless people living on the street. First time I saw that was in Philadelphia. And I would walk and wander around the area when I lived in the downtown area, nearby school. and I would wander around and stretch my legs and stuff. And I'd come across these homeless guys having conversations. They were, counting stacks of bills. And the guy said, yeah, this year was a really good year. Just in the first 3 months, I got $30,000 and da-da-da-da. And yeah, and they're just like total businessmen and living on their cardboard in the snow. And I didn't really have an appreciation for that whole, how do these people survive in the snow? And talking about stream of consciousness, I'm about to go on a different tangent. My freshman year in college, I was in Boston. I went to visit my family, and I have extended family in Philadelphia, and went to see the Mummers Parade.
The Mummers Parade. What's
have you
that?
ever heard of that?
No.
Okay, so you've seen the New Year's Eve ball drop in New York City. So people hang out there and see the ball, and then they start this 2-day party. So that happens, and then you take a train into Philadelphia, and all day long on January 1st, there's the Mummers Parade on the streets, and it's snowing, and it's freaking freezing outside, and they're marching bands. They're playing, they have tubas, they have upright basses they're walking with. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's huge. And people are standing out on bleachers in the snow watching this go down for all day long. And so I'm out there, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I'm freezing. And this young couple, Southern California girl, this young couple look at me and they say, wow, you're cold, you want to have a sip of this? And they were sharing a bottle of bourbon. Well, in the next hour, the three of us polished off a whole bottle of bourbon. I was so warm. That's how those guys, that's how they make it work. These guys are drunks. They have to be drunks living on the street to stay warm.
Right.
And to take you out of the reality of what's going on about your living condition, because it is not something to be happy about.
We've had about 20 people on this podcast. I'm just trying to think in terms of background. I think you're the only Black woman we've had on this podcast, and I a couple months ago had a Black woman in High Voltage and was asking her questions from a white man's perspective, and she said to me, it's not my job to sit down every white person and tell them what life is. I was like, wow, okay, that's great. Because right now, for me, I don't like being a white male in this period of time.
Yeah, but you know what? It's aren't you Jewish?
Yeah,
by
right.
The way?
So I have the
so
Jewish
I see
thing,
that
right.
as being very different, because for a while I dated a Jewish man.
How did you like that?
Well, he was totally dedicated to the lovemaking. That's why we stayed in it. And
way to represent.
He was a good man.
Yes, way to freaking represent.
Facebook is kind of scary because he recently got back in touch, and he's happily married with children. So we won't be saying any names.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but yeah, he was a conservative Jewish man and wanted to have the opportunity for his kids to go the rabbinical route if they wanted. So I would have to not only go through the cleansing process and become Jewish, but my mom would also. And talk to my mom, and everything was cool, and we were going to get started with all that. And then he had his Kabbalah friends do a reading on us, separate from us. They said, no, don't get together with her. And so that was the end.
Oh, so how did you feel about that?
That was really pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I was madly in love with this guy. But
he would have been only so lucky to have kept you.
But this is, thank you. But this is the thing. I grew up, I consider myself Jewish to a certain degree anyway, because growing up, this poor black, I was born a poor black woman. I actually was born rich, and then we became poor when the dad left, and then everything turned around for the better, because that unconditional love that my mom hypnotized me with, that's what kept me on track, because ultimately it's all through love and light that you affect positive change. This law of attraction concept and Buddhist concept is very much what I make my practice now. But the old friend of mine from junior high school, youth orchestra, ran into him again. We reconnected on Facebook, and Derek and I were talking, and I told him about a fellow who, the love of my life, how things would have been so different if I'd gotten together with him instead of the guy that I did marry and very soon after divorce. Everything's a learning experience, though. I'm grateful for all the learnings that I've had. And I told Derek about the Kabbalah reading and everything. Derek said, that was a test. I said, what? He said, they weren't telling you couldn't get together with him. They were testing you to show that because my then partner said, Karen, I don't want you to go through the whole cleansing process just for me. And I'm like, wait, but I want to, was my feeling. But if I had just gone through it, then we would have, in hindsight, being possibly 2020, we would have stayed together, and that would have been a really powerful collaboration because he is a active musician and world traveler, and things would have been very different.
I mean, I always wonder, I'm still contemplating to this day, do I be with somebody who is like opposite on the spectrum of me, like a lawyer or another artist? I have a friend. I mean, if you have that love and everything is there, and one thing that I learned in the course of being married, I was married on paper for 7 years. We were together really for 4. Interesting, yeah.
I'm losing my voice here in a second. Sorry. Was that hindsight? Please. Hindsight being 2020. If I had, as per the suggestion of one of my old friends, gotten marriage counseling early on, or even before we tied those vows and everything, things would have been totally different. And by the time we did go through the marriage counseling, it was very clear that we had serious communication problems, challenges. And it really takes 2 people that want to make a relationship work. They both have to work. You have to work at a relationship. It is beautiful and magical right at the beginning.
Difficult.
But you have to work at it. It's like playing an instrument. Yeah, it's fun, and you see somebody give a concert and you're inspired to play that instrument, but now you got to practice your scales and arpeggios every day and put in the work.
Right.
And it became very clear and obvious that was not the situation with the partner at the time. So thank you so very much.
That's Skywater. We have Skywater over at Open Temple.
This isn't Skywater.
We had Skywater.
It wasn't working this morning.
Okay. But we do have, there's a Skywater machine at Open Temple if you want to come check it out and check out Open Temple and Open Temple Soul Journey Studios.
Yeah.
Reach out to Jeremy, sjs at opentemple.org for a tour.
Recording engineer extraordinaire. I love my voice on this mic. I can't believe it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, do you like hearing yourself? I like hearing myself.
This is a very nice, very sexy microphone.
That's what we did.
We almost had some baby destroy it yesterday.
I thought you meant, he said we almost had a baby, and he had a little pause and he gestured at me. I'm like, really? Well, we are going to do some acro, so that is kind of like gesturing.
Do you want to do it
at
the end? Like, should we
wait
till the end? Yeah, we'll wait till the end.
Yeah, wait till the end.
I'm stalling time, but I did go last. It was just very spontaneous that I went last week or 2 weeks ago. It's funny, there was a couple there, and right as I was leaving, you were telling them not to compete with each other because they were shaking when they were up there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the woman was shaking first, and then the man was shaking first when he was up, like, doing the acro poses. And then the woman was shaking. They were boyfriend, girlfriend, and then the boyfriend was like, "Oh, who's shaking now?" And you were like, no competing during acro yoga.
I let him know, if he thinks that you're shaking, that she's shaking more than you, I'll give you something to shake.
I'll give you something to shake about.
I'll make you shake, brother. So don't be teasing and giving other people a rough time. we can bring it out of you. Don't worry.
Oh my God. So how, this is so freaking funny. Yeah, I go to Mystic Journey sometime when I'm feeling like I forget it's there sometime. I'm so wrapped up in this like Electric Lodge world, and
it's only a couple blocks away.
and
Isn't
it's
that
only
amazing?
a couple blocks away. But you know what's amazing is there's another guy performing on Friday, or he's presenting to musicians, and he runs a store on Abbot Kinney. And just when I thought that Abbot Kinney was so just distant emotionally, artistically from Electric Lodge, in a lot of ways it is. It's so chic, but I have two performers on Friday associated with Abbot Kinney business. That is really, it was shocking. I just realized that
Yowza.
in the last day or two.
So
I've been pulling people from the east side because I thought, I don't have a Venice community here.
So you just contradicted yourself in a good way. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that was just a surprise, right? And like, every show I do, every lineup I do a mishmash, and then I figure out a couple days before why it is that those are the people that have come this way. Mm-hmm. You know, and in some ways I'm like, oh man, it's not a creative job, it's a facilitator job. But then every time it ends up being some vision that has to be
But you know what?
discovered.
I think the nature of you being you, there's no way that you can just be a facilitator.
Aw.
Because you infuse your energy and creativity and this high energy focus and enthusiasm for the project. You infuse that into encouraging people, whether you're part of their project or not. You infuse it into it. And what comes to mind, one of the collaborative projects I work on every now and then is a Tuesday night event in Hollywood. It's been at
Tuesdays at 9? No, it's something else.
No, it's called Ultimate Jam.
Oh, where's it
and
at?
it's now it's at Whiskey A Go Go. It used to be at Lucky
really?
Strike at Hollywood and Highland.
You go to Whiskey A Go Go on Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights. It starts at about 9, goes until 2 a.m. And the ringleader, the facilitator, is my dear friend Chuck Wright, who is the bass player for Quiet Riot. So naturally, with his incredible energy and focus and detail, attention to detail, that has created this incredible whirlwind of world-class rock and roll that's free to the public every Tuesday night.
What time?
9 p.m. until 2 a.m.
So you just show up and there's
just
people
hang.
jam and hang and that's incredible. So you're very wide ranging in just like the places you are. Like I saw something, you were at the Hollywood Bowl a couple months ago. Were you playing at the Hollywood Bowl? Or you were?
Let me see, what was I don't know anything. Whatever. I'm playing all over the place.
And the instrument you play it's not the violin, it's the
viola.
It's the viola.
Yeah. I play violin as well.
Oh, okay.
And when I play for the rock and roll shows, I use my electric instrument, which is a 6-string violin. So it's a violin viola hybrid.
Hell yeah. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty cool.
So, I want to know how yoga and viola playing became one for you. What was the day, the time? What was the moment?
I grew up being really athletic, doing all sorts of different sports, being athletic. My siblings and I were in competitive swimming while we were single-digit kids. And we got out of that and into music because we came across a youth orchestra program where we grew up that was affordable. It was free to us. That we all three got to our level in swimming where we would eventually have to go to the Mission Bay swim team club or something if we want to continue competing, because we'd gone way beyond our swim team, and that costs money. And at that time, there was no huge scholarship for poor kids like us, and so we couldn't do that. And that's kind of like a ballet where you have to go every day, which we were doing with our swim team, which was at a local pool in Southeast San Diego, the Martin Luther King Memorial Park pool. So we got into this youth orchestra, and it was normal for us to see other black kids in classical music because it was an all black youth orchestra. that was founded by this woman, Maudlin Kelly from Chicago, who was a retired music teacher who moved out to San Diego and founded this orchestra. And for the kids who were struggling with money, she made it available for us to have free lessons and participate in this orchestra and learn orchestra repertoire. And we had to study piano with her. So it was really great. It was a really great experience. So that I started doing the music after I had a really solid grounded base in sports. So as I grew into and really loving my instrument, I continued, of course, with my athletic activities, ocean swimming, surfing, bicycling, distance running were all things that I still do.
Yeah.
And I went away to the college, and when my first year in college, being a California girl, being in Boston in snow, and being away from home, because then I finally realized, even though I wanted to get as far away as possible, I really missed my mommy. So my work study for the first couple of months was working in the school cafeteria, so I could eat all the. Sorry, I keep banging. I'm talking with my hands. I'm banging my mic. Sorry about that. Bang, bang, bang. So I'm eating my woes away, and sure enough, did that freshman 40 and
freshman 40. Nice.
Oh yeah, I gained all that weight.
I gained a lot of weight after senior year for some reason. Right when I graduated.
Getting ready for freshman 40.
Yeah.
So but I couldn't get rid of the weight because I couldn't bring myself to go outside and exercise in the snow. It was just foreign for me. I didn't want to slip. It was too cold to exercise. At the end of the school year, I joined the YMCA and swam a mile a day, and I lost a ton of weight in a month. And that was very easy. But I swore the next year when I went to this other school in another cold town in Philadelphia that I wouldn't allow myself to do that. And I gained some weight, but I kept it kind of under control. I got more comfortable with running in the snow. And then my next year, I had a job. My first job out of college was in Detroit, so another snowy place.
From there?
No, I didn't know
West
that.
Bloomfield, Michigan. Suburb outside, 40 minutes outside of Detroit.
I was in Bloomfield.
Yeah, West Bloomfield.
I was in Bloomfield.
Yeah,
up
that's
north.
Right. What?
To the north.
It was. So was it? Was the north of Detroit?
Yeah.
Bloomfield. No, but Bloomfield Hills.
Yeah, I was in Bloomfield Hills.
Oh no, you were right by where I grew up. Yeah, West Bloomfield. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, in the
It's very
forest.
snowy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I joined a club, a health club, finally, because I knew I was going to gain weight in that town.
Yeah, right.
It was really cold and
Yeah.
really nowhere to go running that was safe. And,
Welcome to my childhood.
and so I got into weightlifting, and what's interesting is I had a real acumen for the weightlifting, and I started following in Muscle and Fitness, a woman who's about 8 years older than me, named Jackie Paisley. I don't know if you've heard of her.
No, but I'll look her up.
She was one of the Weeder winners.
Yeah.
I can't remember which awards she won, but she was winning all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. As a scrawny person, muscles are very. It's like a distant dream for me.
Yeah. Well, it's something that you can achieve
It's
anything.
I have a weird thing. I'm very hierarchical. I either think I'm better or worse than people, and people with muscles, I think I'm worse than them.
It's all how as I was driving in, I was thinking about body sculpting, because I take private yoga lessons, and my yoga instructor said to me on Sunday, your body is really shifting. It's really changing. And, if you set your mind to really putting in the work on something, if you want to gain weight, there's certain things that you can do to gain weight, and not just eating lots of food and, pork and cheese. Which I know would be a struggle for this good Jewish boy, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can't eat pork. I've never eaten pork. I love bacon. But like pork, like
what is bacon? Bacon is pork.
But it's a certain type of pork. It's not like, but it's a certain type of the pig.
Like carnitas, you can't do.
Yeah, like pork, like me ordering straight pork, whatever the hell that
Or
is.
chitlins.
Chitlins, yeah.
I forget that. The delicacy of my southern family. Oh
right,
my God.
right, yeah.
Barfamundo. Anyway.
Yeah, wait. Did I ask you about how you got... Okay, so you're getting...
So I'm getting there in a very roundabout
You have
way.
great stories, by the way. I wasn't even ready for your good, like...
Jewish boy?
Yeah, nice Jewish boy. I was not ready for your amazingly well-rounded life.
Thank you.
I grew up in privilege. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like you should be like really famous with your story and what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm famous in my own mind.
Yeah, in my mind too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you. I'm grateful for everything I have going on, believe me.
Yeah.
So I'm out there and this I'm following this woman Jackie Paisley on in Muscle and Fitness because she was also a recent graduate from Curtis Institute. She played cello and studied at this music conservatory where I was, and so I was like, I'm going to go for it. Build the body, and because my body really I have a peasant shape. My body likes and very easily gains weight and muscle mass. And so that it was very easy for me to take to heavy weightlifting. And then as Jackie was telling her story when she was having different interviews, she mentioned how she had to eventually give up playing the cello because there was a contraction to doing the weightlifting. You just can't do the two. And she also had, she had a gorgeous body. And so she made that decision, music versus her sport. And so I thought, well, I'm not interested in giving up my music, so I'm going to back off of this a little bit. But I found other sports that were of interest to me. And the next year, I took a job as principal viola of San Diego Symphony. And at the time I was dating a guy who, the downtown San Diego has transformed just like Venice is in the middle of transforming. We used to have what is the whole downtown area for the most part used to be boarded up, and it was called Whore Plaza. Horton Plaza was called Whore Plaza because it was all boarded up, and the sailors who would come on and off boats, they would go there and they'd sneak in between the boards with the little prostitutes doing their tricks and everything. Well, if you've been to San Diego, and it's clear and obvious, it's been completely changed for a long time now, but it's now all high-end places, just like they're changing here on Abbot Kinney, which I see this as a positive thing.
You see it as a positive thing.
Yes, because we're cleaning stuff up. Because you know what? You dig deep and you still find you're still able to draw people from these stores over here who are participating in this, this creative energy. So
that's all I ask, right?
Yeah. So this guy I was dating, he said, you play a symphony concert, it's 8:00 concert, 10 p.m. you're out, you visit at the reception afterwards, you're walking to your car, which might be nearby, might be a couple blocks away at 11 p.m. or midnight, and he did not like that. He would come to some shows and he said, yeah, I can tell, and this was a tough guy, and I could see that person, they were looking at you. I had a boyfriend like that. And so he got me into karate classes. And so I took Taekwondo with Master James Wilson, who was a trainer for some of the Olympians in the 82 Olympics in Japan. And one of the gold medal winners was one of the men who was black belt in that dojo that I studied in. So it was no joke. I learned from a great master with great assistant teachers, and I kind of got into that pretty intensely for a string player, this musician.
Yeah.
And so I've never been afraid to do contact and really physical sports while I'm doing my music, making my music. So that was a natural progression to getting into the yoga. I had in 2012 a Tough Mudder race that I trained for 6 months with my team. And during that time, I was still training for triathlons, so bicycle rides, and I had a couple good bicycle falls, and fell and hit my hip pretty good, and I was manifesting the pain in my knee. And during the race, we had this 10-mile race up in the ski resort, Snow Valley, and I thought I was dying. I at the end, my training coach and also team member Heath Perry, brilliant guy, he suggested I research muscle activation therapy and to incorporate more yoga, because we had little itty bits of yoga in our training just to stretch us out.
Yeah.
And I liked the yoga, but I'd never had a positive experience with yoga, because with my travels with music and such, that when I'd be in a different hotel, I'd take the yoga class that they'd offer, and it was geared for these obese businessmen who don't move at all. And so we'd sit there and I'm like, what? Why am I wasting my time? Who cares about yoga? So I took a hot yoga class and I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
I was used to, by that time, and I always have been comfortable in cold environments when I exercise. I teach scuba diving. I like ocean swimming out here in the Pacific and California Pacific. And for the training for the Tough Mudder, we were meeting at 6 a.m. at the Rings in Santa Monica every morning. And so I'm up early and it's cold out. So I'm in this studio that's 100 degrees and I'm going upside down and twisting, and these are all things I'd never done before.
Wow.
And
how many years ago was this?
I first started at 2012.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So it's very recent.
Holy shit.
It's very recent. And I in the course of my training with for the Tough Mudder, my coach Heath, he would work with me every now and then when I was taking semi-private coaching lessons on the beach with him. So when it was just me and him, he would do a little acro yoga with me. So that was my exposure to acro yoga. And when I bringing the acro yoga and the music together, what gave me that idea is the environment I work in, often in the studios, the commercial music, it can be very intense, very stressful.
Yeah.
And on one particular day, there were all sorts of technical problems with the Pro Tools, crashing, and people making mistakes when they're playing, and it was going over time, and the contractor and the producers are getting stressed out, and everybody's upset and angry. And during a break, I said to one of my colleagues, who's a big, strong, sturdy guy, I said, look, we're going to stand in the hallway, and I'm going to do sit-ups on you. He said, what? I said, you're going to stand there and I'm going to wrap my legs around your waist and I'm just going to do sit-ups while everybody's, filing out of the room. And we did that, and I'm just like, and these are like, from my martial arts training, this was kind of sit-up that we would do on each other. And everybody was just laughing, and I said, Evan, come on, I'm going to go get my instrument. And so I got my instrument, and I just started playing while I was, doing sit-ups on it. So I have a YouTube with Heath, where I'm playing a couple movements of Bach Cello Suite, number 5, and the opening segment is me doing sit-ups on him while I'm playing my instrument, right here in the Hellman Theater. So that's one of my YouTube videos. Yeah, you got to check it out.
So are there a lot of, how many other people in the world are doing this?
No, I'm the only one. I am the only one.
Yeah.
There are people who do acro yoga and have an instrument, but they're not. They're playing like goofy, just holding one note. Or
But you're really
no.
playing.
I'm playing from memory. Music of Johann Sebastian Bach. So this is no joke.
Are you going to do that on Friday? You going to play Bach on Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's what I call Bach flips.
Bach flips. Yeah. That is so cool. Well, we should probably should go into the pose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to aim the microphone this way so you can hear us?
Yeah, you got to hear Jeremy comment.
Yeah, Jeremy can comment. Jeremy, you want to comment on what's happening while we do
As
it?
Josh is going,
Do you want me to like narrate?
yes,
you could
that would
totally
be
narrate.
great because Josh's going to need all of his attention over here.
Yeah, right. I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to fall.
Oh,
You're
wow.
not going to fall.
No, but yeah, I did it the other day. I was fine. Should I take my shoes off? Yeah.
Yes. That'll be good.
God.
All
And
right.
none of
We
this
got
equipment
shoes
will
and
get-
socks coming off.
Socks off too, yeah. So I thought, okay.
Are you wearing a belt?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Alright.
So this is our basic pose. Bird pose.
Bird pose. Okay. We have bird pose happening. Okay.
All
And you have your hands. You
Like
lean
this? Okay.
forward and breathe. Yeah, straight arms.
Wow, I am
Straight arms. Arch your back. Squeeze your legs together so you engage your legs.
Oh, yeah. Squeeze those legs, Josh.
Put your hands on your hips.
Oh no.
Yes. Now you're flying. Now you're flying. One hand on your hip. Yeah. There you go. Look at him styling. Styling.
Okay, I'm up in the air.
There you go. Straighten this arm.
Why do I feel like I'm gonna fall forward?
He's got one hand on the hip,
Bending your
people.
arm, straighten it. There we go. Oh my
He's got both hands on the hips.
goodness. And he's in the air. He's off the ground.
Breathe, Josh.
Let me have your, he's having a baby. Seeing how we don't have enough baby activity.
Yeah, right.
Okay, now let your body come down.
Stomach.
Yeah,
Down this way.
yeah,
Okay. Oh.
and just relax.
Okay.
Does that release, like, your back? Is that nice on your back, Josh?
Yeah, it feels great actually.
Here, you're gonna release your hands behind my head.
Okay. Alright. Oh.
Wow.
Is that from a good yeah. So he's essentially getting back traction, a mild chiropractic stretch.
Wow.
Because I'm pushing on his hip flexors right at his pelvic bone, and I'm pulling the opposite directions, pulling with his arms this way. So his whole spine is getting a nice stretch. Place your hands behind your head, interlace, yeah, and breathe. Breathe.
Oh
Now he's getting a little spinal twist.
Wow.
How's that?
Great. Yeah, that feels great.
Yeah, hold that pose for a second. I just gotta take a photo of this.
please.
Smile.
Yeah, you gotta send that to me.
Smile, Josh.
Now the other side.
This is awesome.
Oh, this side is tighter. Can you feel it?
Oh, yeah. My shoulder blades are kind of
Yeah.
always been tight. I hold a lot of tension there. Oof.
Wow. You are up in the air, Josh.
Yeah.
He's not moving. He's flying. Soaring.
Oh.
Now squeeze your elbows together. Keep your hands behind your head. And arch your back so your tummy's coming towards me. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, have you seen that movement called cat-cow?
Yeah.
Now you're going to do cat-cow. So
Okay.
take your belly up to the ceiling. Keep your hands behind your head, though. Yeah.
Wow.
And come down again. Make your head go up. Look up at the ceiling as you go down. And then
Wow.
look down to look at your belly.
Are you getting this there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a nice crack. His lower back, I just felt his
Yeah.
lumbar just crack and relax.
Cat cow, everybody.
Up in the air, suspended on feet. Good job.
Wow.
Okay, let me have your hands one at a time. Good job.
Man, this seems like it takes stamina.
Yes. Strong.
You good?
Yeah.
So from here, one of the things that you missed are doing our squats. So you keep your arms straight.
Wow. Now this is like a workout for you,
Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah, exactly. This is what my favorite acro instructor, Waka Panea David Luke, he calls this calibrations. So every time I bend my arms and my legs, that's going to change Josh's balance on my feet and my hands. And so I'm having to adjust to make sure that he stays up in place.
It's like those little muscles.
Exactly. Lots of little itty bitty muscular adjustments. A lot of the base, the person on the bottom, is in control is in the most control of what happens with the pose. And there's a whole movement. There's a whole movement that is called lady bases, where you have.
It's a good band name, by the way.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
so too.
I have to say something real quick. You give me faith in Venice. You
Right on.
You do. You really do, because you have all the, this is like a very Venice thing to do, but like really progressive and just strong, and like it's just like it's gravity, it's the weight of the earth, and you've worked your ass off on it. And it's art too, and you're playing music while you do it.
And speaking of the art element and working the ass off, the style that I teach at Mystic Journey and at Capoeira Besado of acro yoga is called Montreal style acro yoga, in which, and you kind of got a little sample of that when you were at the class, and the guy said to his girl, who's shaking, in Montreal style yoga, everyone is the same, which is a concept in yoga. You yoke and you evenly bear the weight, as opposed to West Coast acro yoga that you'll see on the green near the pier. That's more like cheerleading and rhythmic gymnastics, in which you have a dedicated base that's usually a guy who outweighs and outsizes the flyer, who's usually a girl, by about 2/3.
Wow.
So
right. So I think the whole thing is like, wait, you're saying everyone's the same. What do you mean by that?
everyone takes turns basing and flying. So you learn to do both.
And I was just telling you this, that somebody called me out last week. They were like, you are so competitive. I'm like, me? And I hide my competitiveness, but they're like, he's like, you need to start seeing people as equals. Like, and every, and so I'm hearing that from what you're saying.
And that's exactly how I relate to the people who are living on the street, people who are the drug addicts, the prostitutes, the angry people. I mean, you said you're at the beginning, you're embarrassed to be a white man in the company of me, as a black woman, but you know what? It's not your responsibility to take that on. Yet, yes, call out on it, because it's different when somebody in your, with your features says publicly that is wrong behavior, as opposed to somebody like me who's in the midst of being, disrespected or in the stress of that element. So that's totally different. And as far as the working the ass off element, I, as again, different tangent, talking to an old music colleague of mine, who both of us are avid scuba divers, he said the one reason why musicians make such great scuba divers is because just everything that we apply in our music training, just the focused practice and discipline, and you go over every single detail. And when you do that in any activity, you end up accelerating and excelling at it. I've taken a great passion for acrobatic yoga, and And I've been following a acro yoga team, dance partner team, husband and wife, Jessica Goldberg and Eugene Poku, who are the creators of Montreal Acro Yoga, this balanced yoga. Eugene happens to be one of the choreographers and coordinators for the acrobats for Cirque du Soleil.
Right.
Well, I just this past week got my acceptance letter to train with these people in their annual teacher training in Montreal.
Oh my God.
So the month of July,
Congrats.
thank you. I cannot tell you how fucking happy I am right now.
Yes.
I'm over the top excited. And so I'll be
So
spending a 200-hour teacher training session in Montreal and working on bringing some more of this fun out here.
This is awesome. I'm just so like having you on Friday wouldn't have been the same without having bumped into you. It's like every 6 months you and I see each other, but now we're gonna have to focus on some things here.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
gonna
Well,
have
I
to-
want to do a collaboration with you.
I would love
So,
that.
definitely.
Okay. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I'd be honored. I'd be
Yeah.
honored. It's on. It's happening. So I'm very happy with all the things we talked about. I feel like I know you on a whole new level, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome to have you on Friday. So Bach flips. Karen Elaine's gonna be doing Bach flips on Friday night.
Yes,
It's
sir,
very
yes.
exciting. So come on out. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh wait, listen to this. Yeah.
This has been Electric Lodge Presents Notes from the Underground with Josh Berkowitz. We hope you enjoyed and tune in next time. Recorded live from Soul Journey Studios in Venice Beach, California.
Nice.